Hi everyone, this is Vera. Welcome back to our Back to School Mental Health series. So today we are going to get into part 2 of this series on tools to support children. And we are going to cover these tools in 4 parts. So first we'll talk about emotion regulation, how to help children with that. We'll talk about attachment, play therapy, and safety. So hopefully this will give you some concrete tools to help children calm down just big emotions, distressing emotions maybe, and I know you've probably maybe noticed a lot more of this during COVID and during the disruption in routine, not being able to go to school, and maybe going back to school, you've noticed an adjustment as well. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. So emotion regulation is our first mini topic here. So the first step to supporting children in regulating their emotions is to help them develop an emotional vocabulary. So for yourself and for children, this is very important because to even begin to understand or regulate any kind of emotion, we need to first know all the other ones, right? Know the spectrum of emotions. So you can do this by putting a list of emotion words on your fridge, even just smiley faces like here emojis, and having kids maybe just when they wake up or at nighttime or whenever they're feeling dysregulated, just to kind of point to the face, and that way they can show how they're feeling to you. If they are able to, if they're older and they're able to read, maybe just having the list of words is helpful. You can also put the list up in the mirror, so that kind of sets the tone for just waking up and being able to check in with yourself emotionally. It's just a nice way to start the day. Second part of emotion regulation, once you're able to name the emotions or have the vocabulary to name emotions, you can start naming them. So there is a strategy that was coined by Dr. Daniel Siegel called Name It to Tame It. And it's really just naming the emotion that you're experiencing and connecting it to where you're feeling it in your body. So it sounds simple, but the reason this works is when you're naming the emotion, you're engaging your right brain, and when you're connecting it to your body, you're engaging your left brain. So that connection actually helps us induce relaxation and regulation in our bodies. So for example, naming the emotion, if your child is feeling really angry, you can help them name that, or you can ask them what they're feeling, and then you can ask them where are they feeling it in their body. So if they're angry, maybe they're clenching their jaw, maybe they're feeling really hot, maybe you're noticing that they're getting red, maybe they're making facial expressions. So anything that, basically any sort of somatic experience that is connected with the emotion, you want to just say out loud or help them say it out loud. Yeah, so that's Name It to Tame It. Second tool is emotion coaching. And so this was co-developed by Dr. Adele LaFrance. She has a website that's very useful called Mental Health Foundations. So she, a quote from her, emotions go up like an elevator, but the door to reason is on the ground floor. Emotion coaching can get you there. So what we're doing is, as you're going up, as the emotion is rising, the emotion coaching is actually helping the child come back down to the ground floor. I thought that was a nice analogy. Yeah, just basically come back down to when their right brain is maybe hyperactive at a time, maybe they're having an outburst, maybe you're at a public place. So if there is nothing kind of done to intervene that time, then you can, I'm sure you've noticed, the emotion just rises and rises and rises. So motion coaching will help bring them back down. It's a universal strategy for all ages. You can even use it. You can use it with adults. It works for anyone of all ages. It's an in-the-moment technique to connect with the child first and then redirect or de-escalate a situation. And it activates the brain regions involved in motion regulation, and that's why it works. So how you do it is you are going to actually name the emotion for the child. You are going to give them a reason why they might be experiencing this. So you're going to say, you know, you're feeling angry. I can understand why you're feeling angry because, and then you're going to give 3 reasons why. And this is basically validating that emotion for them. It's telling them, it's kind of removing any sort of defense because you're able to connect with them, you're able to show empathy, and matching tone and volume can be really helpful. Yeah, so that's how you do it. So it's basically a script, and we are going to post this resource, this script on our website. So for example, these are just little sentence starters. I get why you would feel blank because you're going to give 3 reasons why. I can see how that might make you feel blank because 3 reasons why. Makes sense that you're feeling that. I can only imagine how difficult this may be for you because no wonder you're feeling this. So you're really trying to connect to them first rather than correct what's going on. So an example might be, I can see why you're feeling scared to go to school because you've been hearing a lot about the virus. You're scared to get sick and your friends are also staying home. So this might be a nice way to connect to a child who's feeling very, very anxious about going to school, and no matter what, you're not able to get them to even consider going back. Or even consider going back happily or calmly. So, so that's an example. So now we're going to be talking about attachment. So attachment is all about presence and connection with a child. So each of us are biologically programmed to develop a primary attachment bond with at least one adult. So it provides us with an internal sense of security, which in adulthood encourages us to be self-reliant and to have empathy for others as well as for ourselves. Attachment is developed through caregiver emotional attunement. So really being aware of the emotions that your child is experiencing, really trying to understand them, and being responsive to them. And attachment really affects our capacity to self-regulate in childhood and adulthood. So a quick little, an easy acronym to remember to kind of reinforce this idea of attachment with your child is PACE. So playfulness, you want to engage and play with them. You want to have reciprocal play where they're interacting with you, you're interacting with them, rather than maybe they're just playing by themselves and they're keeping themselves preoccupied, but you may be busy doing something else, and that's okay. But even just having like 10 minutes per week of attachment time that's all you really need. So yeah, playfulness is the first one. Acceptance. So you want to show that you have warm, unconditional regard and love for them no matter what. Even if they're having an outburst at the mall or a family event or whatever it is, you want to convey that with your presence so that they are always feeling safe with you. Curiosity is all about inquiring about a child's inner world. So you really want to take the stance of, I don't really know what's going on in their inner world, because that really helps you be open and it helps you ask questions. It helps you remain curious, and they can really sense that. Yeah, I think I've just noticed that if you do have this presence of curiosity, the more a child will want to talk to you because they know, okay, hey, this person is interested in me. They're interested in what's going on with me. So it's a really great way to build connection. And the last one is all about understanding and validating a child's emotions. Um, and through name it to tame it, developing an emotional vocabulary and emotion coaching, you should be able to really have that empathy and show it with your child. Yeah, so PACE is a nice acronym that you may want to take away from this presentation today. So the third one is play therapy. So I love play therapy because not only is it fun, it really speaks to a child's developmental level. It really enables you to work with children based on their developmental level. So Gary Landreth is a play therapist in the States. So toys are children's words and play is their language. This is how he conceptualizes play therapy and why it's so important and why it's so engaging for children. So yeah, this is how they speak, this is how they communicate, this is how they process things, this is how they learn things. So it's not just fun, it's been shown by research to build more brain connections. It helps facilitate healthy emotional expression, helps children develop new thoughts, new behaviors, new problem solving skills, new coping skills. It helps them process any stress or trauma safely because playing with the toys and engaging with the toys allows them to have distance from a subject or from a distressing subject. Yeah, and it helps them facilitate new understanding, acceptance, integration of experiences. So if you are watching a child play with their toys and they're engaging in just independent play by themselves, you'll often notice that the stories that they're making up as they play with the toys often resemble what has actually happened in their life. So maybe they felt really left out at school one day, and maybe they're now basically reenacting that through play. Maybe, all these toys don't want to play with the lion or whatever. So it's really interesting to observe if you get a chance to. So with play therapy, there is, I think now more play therapists are really trying to help parents develop skills to play with their children, because if the stronger your relationship is with the child, a lot of play therapists have noticed that behavioral or any sort of emotional concerns disappear as soon as the relationship between parent and child strengthens. And that's called familial play therapy if you want to research more about that. But basically, it really encourages parents to have regular weekly individual play with each child. Even 20 minutes per week is enough. This facilitates attachment. This also facilitates them learning new skills, just processing experiences, which that in itself leads to emotional regulation. So some ideas that you might want to try, you may want to sit on the floor while a child is playing with their toys and then basically wait for them to engage with you, or you can go ahead and engage with them just by picking up a toy, just acting things out, even though you might feel like it's silly, but that's okay. It's also good for adults to play. You may want to blow bubbles with them. That's a really nice regulating activity that you can do. With life, I'm sure all of you, or whether you're working from home or you're not working or you're trying to kind of just manage the household, it is really difficult if you're trying to figure that out, and with your responsibilities and a child is asking you to play with them, you're not going to be able to do it all the time, but at least just have in your mind of like, okay, once a week I am going to play with them. So when they ask you to play with them, just participate, just include yourself in it. An example of that, what I've noticed with the children in my life is they'll oftentimes just randomly ask, like, do you want a cookie or like noodles or some sort of food item, and it's pretend play. And so I just say yes, even if I'm busy doing something. So that's just an idea. You might want to play I Spy. This is nice to do if you're going for a walk outside, or maybe if you're just on the way to drop them off at school. When you are playing with them, you really want to comment on the play to really show your involvement. Let yourself be silly, let yourself have fun. Yeah, so oftentimes when the parent-child relationship strengthens, behavior problems start to disappear. So that's really interesting. And if you have older children who are not really into toys anymore, maybe just join in, even just sit with them, watch them play their video games or their tablet time. Ask them about why they're so fascinated by the YouTuber that they're watching all the time. Yeah. So last one we're covering is safety. This is all about creating routines and schedules. So, I mean, having schools back in session is great in terms of creating that structure. If your kids are still at home, you could still do this. Just create any kind of structure or routine in terms of, this is our time that we're doing. I'm sure everyone's already doing this. Just the online school time. This is our break time. This is our reading time, whatever it is. This is our play time. Just having that scheduled in the day, even if it's like 5 minutes of playtime. Provide transition warnings. So if you're noticing your child is really, really getting attached to tablet time or just watching a video, playing video games, just 5 minutes before, even 10 minutes before, you give them that transition warning that, it's almost up, we have 5 minutes left, whatever it is. Communicate unknown. So sometimes, especially for anxious children, they just knowing what you're going to do today, what you're going to do today with them together, might help just ease that anxiety. So even just saying, so today, this is what I'm going to do, this is what you're going to do. Sometimes that can be helpful. Or any other unknown. For example, if you're taking them to a doctor's appointment, what will happen at the doctor's appointment? Speaking honestly and openly according to the developmental level, and being consistent with setting limits and boundaries. Those are just some few tips on how to create routine and structure, and that does create safety because it's predictable. Children know what to expect, especially during an unexpected time like COVID, where things are really changing every day. This kind of routine and structure enhances safety in their lives. Yes, so that's pretty much it. I just want to quickly go through these resources that we'll have on the website. So first one is just a few quick tips on supporting children through COVID from the Crisis and Trauma Institute. Second and third, just a list of feeling words specifically for children, and then one for adults. I think most of us we don't really grow up focusing on specific emotion words and how to talk about them and how to recognize them. So even for myself or other adults, I think it's really important to have that list, or just, help kind of practice connecting emotions to yourself, in front of your kids too. That would be great. Just even in your head, just kind of when you're feeling stressed, like figure out what that emotion is and connect it to your body. And the more you do this out loud in front of a child, the more they're learning, okay, hey, this is how I can regulate emotions. So so those are those two. Emotion coaching, there's a script of how to do it from the Mental Health Foundation's website. 27 S's of attachment-focused parenting. It's basically just a guideline of things to increase and things to decrease in order to enhance the attachment with your children. There is a really, really great list of play activities by the BC Ministry of Education, so we'll put that on there. It's super long, but you can click through which activities you're interested in. And the last one is just easing transition from simplicity learning. And that's also about kind of getting into that routine, basically implementing safety. So yeah, so those are some great resources that you might want to check out after this. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in again. We really appreciate it. The last two webinars will be, one will be in November next month on caring for yourself and building resilience. And the last one will be about what counseling is really like and how it can benefit you. So thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.